Hey, welcome everybody to the P2P virtual session today, which is about economic and workforce opportunities. Really appreciate you being here for this small group discussion as we're exploring a more prosperous future for the Parkersburg to Pittsburgh Trail Corridor. We do have a small group, so I think we should just take a moment for introductions. My name is Amy Camp. My business is Cycle Forward, and I've been hired to work with the project partners to produce a master plan for the corridor. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but I'm going to kick it over to Kent, Ella, and Eric as team members, and then we'll go to Leah and Amber if you're able to.
Hi, I'm Kent Spellman. I am a retired community and organizational and community economic development professional who has been working with trails for about 35 years. So I'm excited about this project.
Hmm.
Hi, I'm Ella Belling. I'm the executive director for the Mon River Trails Conservancy. We're a nonprofit that manages about a 50-mile trail system hubbed out of Morgantown, West Virginia, and is a big component of the P2P corridor. Um, and yeah, I've been in the trail world for about 20.
Thanks, Ella.
Hello, I'm Eric Snyder. I am the Director of Outdoor Recreation for the National Road Heritage Corridor. We are one of 12 heritage areas in Pennsylvania. We do a lot of work in the outdoor recreation and heritage and community development sector in Southwest Pennsylvania. That includes work on the Sheepskin Trail, which will be a 34-mile connection in the segment in the Parkersburg to Pittsburgh Trail. So we're excited to explore all of the amazing opportunities that this will spring.
Great. Leah, do you want to tell us who you are?
Sure. My name is Leah Smith, and I'm the executive director for the Marion County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm excited to learn more about where we're at in the progress.
Okay, super.
I'm happy to go. I don't have. Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Ravenscroft. I'm the director of the West Virginia Entrepreneurship Ecosystem. I told Amy in advance of this, I'm picking up my kiddo from pre-K and transporting him to daycare, so I'll be able to chime in, but there also might be a 3-year-old chiming in until I get space. So happy to be here, and I represent entrepreneurs and resource providers across West Virginia for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Amber. That'll make it a fun meeting if your 3-year-old has something to say. Chris, what's up? Can you tell us who you are?
Sure. My name is Chris Corbin. I work as a program manager for the Pennsylvania Environmental Council and a couple different roles with PEC, but the two that are most aligned, I think, with the P2P effort are really going to be our work through the Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition, as well as the Laurel Highlands Conservation Landscape project overall. So a couple different projects and programs that sort of sit at the intersection of conservation, of recreation, of equitable access to the outdoors, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Chris. Amber says that her son would feel strongly that the trails should engage monster trucks. I love that. We're going to take that into consideration.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do a brief presentation and then we will get into discussion. So let's see here. This little bar is always in my way. Okay, are you seeing my presentation now?
Yes.
Okay, super. So we're going to zip right through this, but I want to make sure that everyone has context. This is one of our final presentations or sessions. We've been doing virtual engagement sessions throughout the month. This one obviously being on economic and workforce opportunities. This is one of the earliest things that we're doing with this master planning process. But I want everyone to know that we will be back around in April April and May doing in-person meetings in basically on a county by county basis throughout the corridor. So we will have more information on that soon. We're working to set the dates and are looking forward to having really robust community meetings so that we can share what we're learning and gain all of the needed community input. So more to come on that. And I do want to say if anyone here is interested in our maintaining livability in an outdoor economy session on March 3rd, or if you know anyone that you think should be in the room, please let them know. I'm looking forward to a really good conversation about that next week. So the project area, we're looking at Parkersburg to Pittsburgh. This is about a 340-mile stretch of existing trails. It's not entirely complete, but it's mostly complete. So we're looking at 8 different trails, the ones that you see listed here, spanning 9 counties across West Virginia and Pennsylvania. And this map is just sort of for effect. If you are looking at the right side where you see Shinston and Fairmont, you would continue north into Morgantown, into Fayette County, Pennsylvania, all the way to Pittsburgh. So this is just a portion of the actual map of the corridor. And so really exciting. The project partners received an ARC Arise planning grant to create a regional master plan for the corridor. There are matching funds from the Just Transition Fund, the Benedum Foundation, and the City of Fairmont. And so, together those funds make it possible for the partners that you see listed here on the screen, and we have some of our partners with us here today, to pursue this master planning project with the help of my company, Cycle Forward. And so what we're doing, of course, is we're building on past successes. There's been a long history of collaboration when it comes to trails in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and neighboring states. I don't, think I want to run through this list for you, but just know that we are building on past efforts and are looking forward to continuing the work. So what is the purpose of the master plan? If you're looking at the item in bold, that's the stated purpose. We're working to develop a plan that will unlock the community and economic development potential of the P2P corridor. Now, what's behind this purpose? You see, Kent, I didn't know you were going to be here today, but I put your quote in highlighted it yellow. Do you mind just coming off of mute and sharing a little bit of your thoughts and why you had shared this quote in the first place?
Well, we started with the North Bend development, acquisition and development in 1988. And in the early 90s, we had a study done by WVU on the potential economic impact of the North Bend Rail Trail. And that impact back then in the early 90s was estimated to be at 5 million plus a year. That has never been realized. And a lot of our energies in terms of trail development have been focused on trying to close those gaps, get surface on the trail, fix the bridges, but very little has been done in terms of the economic development and community development potential along the trail. So this is a really exciting moment to be jumping into this project through this Arise grant and putting together a plan that will help communities and community leaders and trail users leverage trails for economic development and for building communities where people want to live. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Kent. So how are we going to do this work? I just want to walk you quickly through these 4 main project components to the planning process. First and foremost is community and stakeholder engagement. We're taking that really seriously. It's a major part of the work, and we'll continue sort of like at every phase of the project. Things like these discussions, in-person programs and events, community meetings, etc. We also are working on looking at and understanding the physical infrastructure, the assets along the trail, assets in the communities, what trail serving businesses exist, how easy is it for somebody to get between the trail and the various towns. So Again, we're doing asset mapping. We're doing an infrastructure needs assessment. We've biked the entire corridor, all of the open sections, and our have improved our understanding of the infrastructure and what's needed. And out of that, we will create some guidance on how to better connect trail to town. If you go to the lower left, to market understanding, we're doing a market and economic analysis. And from that analysis, we will create an economic development strategy, as well as a branding and marketing strategy for the corridor, which will be a challenge for us. We're looking at nearly 240 miles, and it's like, how do we talk about and market for this trail, into the future. Leah, I will gladly look forward to your ideas on that, and we'll be following up with you separately. And then at the lower right, implementation, right? We have to figure out how to go from having a plan to implementing a plan, and being able to sustain and fund this work over time. So this is all of this together will contribute to the eventual master plan. So a quick plug, we're winding down what we've been calling Heart Trails Month. It's a month-long celebration of trails, and for us, that's a way to just get people celebrating and thinking about the various trails along the P2P in the wintertime, and on the front end of our project. So this is just like a couple of images. We've been having people submit love letters to trails. They've been doing this online. They've been doing this in person at community programs. So a couple of different ways for people to express why trails and these rail trails in particular mean so much to them. A few pictures of some of our events and programs. We've done film screenings. Both Eric and Ella have hosted film screenings of the From Rails to Trails From Rails to Trails documentary. Ella had a really great day of making art in Morgantown, these fused glass trees and lino cut Valentines, and they actually made their way to the state capitol last week for the Outdoor Economy Summit. So lots of good stuff. If you can't read what this little girl has, why she said that she loves trails, she said, because I love the nature and I love the sound of the birds. And her older sister did an even more meaningful, very in-depth, well thought out, response to why trails mean so much to her. And we've been collecting these along the corridor, but I thought I would share that one for you. So, last thing I think here is just, ways to get involved. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a newsletter that you can sign up for at p2ptrails.org. You can send your own love letter using a web form that looks like the image here to the right. Work with us on events and programs. We're looking to be out into the community all spring. So if there's something that makes sense, let's talk. But for now, I'm going to stop my share and share a couple of, ooh, we have new attendees. Let me let these folks into the room. Hey, Ryan. Hi, Shelby. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hi. Apologies. I was in presentation mode, so I hope you didn't wait too long. Do you mind saying hi to the group?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody, and no worries on the presentation section there, and it gave me time to get my little cup of ramen ready anyway. So I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ryan's with WVU. Shelby, can you say hello to the group?
Yes. Sorry I was late. I got in the zone on something I was working on, and anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm here with the Preston County Economic Development Authority. We're interested in economic development of all types, including outdoor recreation, and especially workforce development. So that's my interest in the call.
Super. Thank you so much. If you want more of context on the project, I'll be happy to talk with you and give you some context another time soon. But all that you missed was a brief presentation, and I am going to launch a poll, and then we will get into discussion. So we have two questions that we've been taking with us everywhere that we go on this project. Here's the first one. What do you most hope for when it comes to trails? And I'm forcing you into a single answer. Go ahead and take a look and let us know. Hey, we've heard from everybody. Success. So let's have a look at the results here. Okay, a little bit across the board, but I'm not surprised given today's topic that business growth and job opportunities are at the top of the batch here, followed by place to recreate and socialize. We've been hearing that a lot. Nicer downtown area and a more visually appealing community, and to be able to get from place to place by way of trail. Super. So let's go into the second question. Second question is, how do we get there? How do we get to that desired end state? All right, 8 out of 8. So it's so exciting when we get 100% participation. So, all right. Oh, wow. Loud and clear. Engaging and involving local people and businesses. Yeah, very good. With an economic development plan and by improving trail-related infrastructure and amenities. The good news is that's all in our work plan, but it helps to see what's resonating and what you think is most needed. So thank you. Does anyone want to respond to that or offer their 2 cents on either of the polls?
I think in both cases we could only choose one, but they all have to happen. And one leads to the other, leads to the other, leads to the other. And we can't really predict exactly what the order will be. We know that all of those are going to be touched in both of those polls.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I just
Okay.
think I'll go real quick. I was just going to say I think the engagement piece is really the key to the sustainability of this goal. Like
Yep.
bringing the community in is the only way to ensure that we have continued economic development and making our towns vibrant. Like you have to bring in your local people in order to give them pride and a sense of ownership and stewardship of this area, to kind of build that place attachment to the trail and really to their towns.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Great. I mean, this is a 238-mile corridor stretched across 2 states. We need to have local buy-in and local leadership, right? And place attachment and sense of place, obviously, are what will motivate people. So great, Ryan. I appreciate that comment. So what I have are just a series of questions that we're going to walk through. I just invite everyone just to speak freely, come off of mute when you can, share your camera if and when you can. Um, let's start with imagining the future for this corridor. What prosperous future do you imagine for the region? What does it look like?
And so when I think of success in this corridor, what I'm seeing is um, local businesses, mom and pop operations, I'm seeing Airbnbs. I'm seeing bike trail or bike maintenance shops, bike shops, however you want to phrase that. I'm seeing local places to eat. I'm seeing breweries because everybody likes a good beer after they've been on their bike ride. Um, I'm seeing um, a place for the community to gather as well, like not just on the business side of things, but I'm seeing this spot of where families go to hang out. I'm seeing other infrastructure stemming from the trail, seeing this as the artery, and maybe the veins are a a pump track or a skills area or a bike playground or maybe even a splash pad, somewhere where people can go and get all the recreational amenities that they want, a bouldering park. That's what I'm seeing it as like a super successful um, area or corridor or linear park or whatever rail trail system, whatever we want to call this. That's ultimately what I picture is a really, really unique and genuine, branded to each town's, own flavor. So that way it all looks very unique and diverse. It's not the same thing that you're looking at, although like some of that would be good. Um, and and most importantly, I would like to see just full buy-in from the communities, from them understanding why this is going to help make their town sustainable. That's like maybe I'm dreaming big there, but
Yeah.
that's what I picture. Like just a really awesome place to be and exist, and it's all unique and genuine and real.
This is a place for big dreams.
Yeah.
So thank you. I mean, what I'm hearing is I'm hearing you talk about a flourishing outdoor recreation ecosystem, where the trail is a spine. It's a shared regional asset, where there's tourism taking place, but it's not all about tourism. That's a part of what I'm hearing. Ella, what are you thinking?
I want to go to whatever town Ryan just dreamed up. I'm ready. I uh I think I also want to find that like because of that, because of all of those things that he dreamed up in that investment, that the trail becomes like such an essential other community space that it's supported and invested and protected so that the trail itself becomes an amenity that you couldn't imagine the town without. It's part of the identity. And so, like those things kind of go hand in hand. We need those people to care so much that they couldn't see their community without it. And and that becomes a way to continually see investment and support for trail sustainability, upkeep, and maintenance and improvements.
Yeah, great. Let's get some other perspectives on this. Again, the question is, what prosperous future do you imagine for the region?
Well, I come from the perspective of tourism, and maybe this isn't um, the the goal, or maybe it's too left field, but my vision is people who are coming, who ride bikes, who run and want something different or a big challenge. I'm envisioning like I don't know if it's possible, but like ultras or different types of races, relays, but obviously that are very long. You kind of got to be a little insane to do them, but something that really makes us stick out and is different that people want to come and experience or attempt to experience, even if they can't accomplish it. So I guess things like that, just to be known as somewhere that is a little extreme, but a lot of fun, and a welcoming place to run or bike or be outside.
Yeah, that's great, Leah. Thank you.
I think if I'm picturing what does a prosperous future look like? I think businesses that have seasonal stability. So I think that if there was an opportunity for us to support businesses and being able to stay open when it's not summer and providing training and opportunities on how to have that seasonal stability across the year, because we know that's a challenge for some of our outdoor businesses that are maybe geared towards summer months, but winter comes and hits hard, especially in that region. So I think for that, I think also if this trail for visitors that come in could inspire them to find up to see opportunities to stay and build businesses too. So things that they could translate from other trails that they've been on that they would like to see on that, like if they could come in and see that there are resources in the communities they're traveling through to build and stay there, is also something that I think could be really inspiring. Like, are the towns themselves that are connecting that trail, incentivizing folks to have a desire to stay in them. So those would be my couple of things.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So your organization, do you do you work with entrepreneurs in terms of, addressing challenges like seasonality and like can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm the director of the West Virginia entrepreneurship ecosystem. So really I do two main things. I coordinate the resource providers that are directly supporting entrepreneurs so that they're not competing for resources, they're not duplicating efforts. So I work with a lot of the resource providers that are providing specific business coaching, guidance, technical assistance, capital, all those kinds of resources. And then I do triage for entrepreneurs in West Virginia that are looking to start. So we have an abundance of resources. They don't know where to go or they don't know what to ask for. They can come to me and I help them kind of navigate that. So, yes, short answer is yes, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs from across many different sectors. And I know outdoor
Okay.
economy is one that as a state we're really looking at.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
we could stay with you just for a second, like when you're doing triage, what are the main issues that you're encountering? Like,
Um, so what a loaded question, my friend. Um, so it used to be capital. They would say immediately, we don't have money. That's changed a little bit, which is really encouraging to see. So now some of the barriers that we're hearing are marketing. They have their ideas. They don't know how to get a sustainable marketing out there. Like they do really well with it for a couple of days and then it falls off because they're stuck in the business minutia. Like our small businesses just don't have the capacity to do proper marketing. So we're hearing that. Customer discovery and like making sure that their customer base is there before they launch is something we're really trying to work at. A lot of folks maybe go to another region and they see this awesome business and they're like, well, that would do great, but they don't understand the customer base where they're trying to launch that business and whether that customer would actually buy the product at the price point that they're selling, that type of. So like understanding your geographic customer and what that looks like and creating businesses that are well suited to them, not just copying from other areas. And then I think like understanding the licensure and requirements and navigating what that looks like at the state level. But then if there are specific municipality needs and like specific licensing, we're trying to help them navigate all of that. So those are like the big three: marketing, customer discovery, regulatory, tax, all that good, the fun stuff, would be the third.
yeah.
Amber, what is your capacity, for example, to partner with this initiative to provide specific training to trail-related businesses on P2P? How much capacity do you have, and how would you do that?
Yeah, so I think, in terms of capacity, I would suggest we find the partners within our network that are doing direct service to entrepreneurs to help activate them here. So Ryan, I know Ryan's on, like Ascend West Virginia is doing some really, like West Virginia is a really interesting model that this group should be thinking about
Mm.
because those Ascend, the folks that have come through Ascend are also creating businesses. So they come here on remote work, but there's like a crazy case study that could be done on the number of Ascend West Virginia folks that come and then create businesses and then they intend to stay. Like I just had a conversation with an entrepreneur that's come through Ascend that's wanting to do something called Access Appalachia. that's about Ryan, are you like, yeah, so like I think Access Appalachia could be a really great marketing. He's helping with booking. So like I guess what I would suggest is like the ecosystem in West Virginia is strong to activate any support or training you would need. We would just want to make sure we're laser focused on what is the direct
Yes.
technical assistance needs of those communities. Parkersburg is also, I'm sorry, I'm like spouting out a lot of stuff for you, so
Go
please.
ahead.
So we also are we're partnering with the Institute for Justice. The ecosystem, the Secretary of State, and the Institute for Justice has a cities work initiative that's looking at regulatory requirements and what it means and how many steps it takes to start a business. And Parkersburg and Morgantown are both cities that are actively in that cohort that are part of your region. So like they could also be exploring regulatory practices to support trail-based businesses. So I'm just throwing about a bunch of information, but Ken, to your question, like our capacities there, we would partner to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
In Parkersburg, are you connected with WVUP?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this is so helpful. This is really the kind of detail we were hoping for today. So, yeah. Anyone else want to jump in? I hear somebody taking a breath, I think. Kent, was it you?
Yeah, that was me. It, my vision for P2P is obviously to make it a destination for cyclists from throughout the world. Um, but that relies on creating all of the amenities that those cyclists are going to expect, and it's hard to do that, especially in small rural towns where there isn't a whole lot of other stuff going on. So it becomes trail dependent. But I think the more important picture that we have to keep in mind is not the tourism dollars that are dropped by those cyclists, but the kinds of things that Ascend is doing, which is to figure out tools for getting people to engage with our communities and our trails, and then help them decide to move there and bring their small business there and that kind of thing. And that's where the real economic impact, the lasting, sustainable economic impact is going to be.
Yep, that's right. Tourism is provides a
Tool.
pipeline for us,
Yes.
right? Yeah. I'm wondering, Shelby, forgive me. I think you're in Preston County. Are you in tourism or?
We are involved with pretty much every part of economic development, including tourism. One of our biggest barriers here in Preston County is the lack of lodging. There's not very many places for people to stay here. Um, and yeah, the amenities are definitely
Yeah.
lacking. We try to, redevelop our downtown spaces and revitalize areas. I mean, we have a lot of towns in our county. Kingwood and Breedsville and Masontown all have the rail trail access. So, um, when it comes to outdoor economy, I think those are really our things, priorities for development right now. Um, and we our goal is to really help businesses, and I think community events are really awesome because they get uh businesses to engage with the public and other opportunities. So like if there was some kind of initiative to get people out on the trail and stop at businesses along the way, they could, I think something like that would be good. Getting the word out about the availability of these recreational opportunities would help because, we just like got a trailhead up here and a lot of people don't even know about it. So that's one thing too.
Yeah. So you have me going back to Leah's thoughts around races and trail-based events in part, right? Um, Leah, if you could give us maybe just like a bit of a tourism perspective, just your observation of what you know about this corridor, like what do we need to be thinking about that maybe we're not?
Um, Trying to think, certainly the marketing aspect of it, being able to say, like, once it's truly all connected, being able to get the word out to running groups, to adventure groups, to outdoor groups, to races. Um, you know, I hear about different types of races, and I suppose either finding someone who can put those on or getting in touch with the people who already do. For example, there's a gap relay race. I think it takes place primarily in like Pennsylvania or Maryland. I forget. Um, and so you're on a trail, much like our rail trails, and you've got a team, and one person runs, the rest of you get in a car, try to find the next checkpoint, meet that runner, switch out, put another runner on the trail, and you do that for something like, I don't know, 12 plus hours. Um, and so I think it's about having those connections to people who can host things like that, to people who want to do a marathon on a rail trail. So it's not you're not coming back to where you started. You're going to a different place, and being able to partner with those types of organizers and reaching out to those types of groups that are interested in that. I'm not sure if that really answered your question.
Yeah, well yeah, it does. It helps.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to convene our DMOs and other tourism representatives sometime later this spring probably or summer
Yeah.
to really take a deep dive because I think one of the things that I've heard before is that, you know, one thing that's missing with trails is the voice of tourism, right? And understanding, the needs and the market opportunity from a tourism perspective. So there will be more opportunities. Yeah.
Great. One other idea I had, I wonder if this could be some sort of, and this could be ridiculous, I don't know. This could be some sort of very mini Appalachian Trail. Can this be a challenge that people can accomplish that, they can step off the trail and get into communities, have a nice meal, grab their backpack, get back on the trail and go the rest of the way. I don't know. I've never done anything like that, so I don't know if that's absolutely a ridiculous idea. But just I guess my focus is on extremes. How can we get that niche group to care about us?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, it's useful. And I just want to say, I feel that right now, because there are some gaps that, you know, they're sort of like the more extreme athletes that have the ability to cover the corridor and figure it out. And,
And
we
they're going
want
to be the
everyone.
ones.
Go
I think
ahead.
they're going to be the ones who want to come here.
Mm,
If you go out and run a 5K, you're not traveling 2 plus hours to go run a 5K.
that's
But
right.
if you, I'm sorry.
I just agree with you. If that's who we're
Yeah.
going to attack, that they're the ones that are going to want it.
hmm Yeah. People will travel across the country to do an interesting race. My husband and friends have thought about traveling across the country to go do a Ragnar, which at most is 14 miles per person, but it's extreme. So I guess when it comes to tourism, I think extreme is the way to go.
Yeah,
I wanted to jump in about like what Leah said and also Shelby with we both like I've had conversations about the and like I get trip people wanting trip planning. I'm kind of a CVB for our trail system, but also people want to be able to like be able to be shuttled or have a place to stay in one spot and leave their car and be able to come back and then get back to that spot. They're not necessarily doing, the entire corridor, but they're trying to do multiple days. and have ways to transport their bikes and themselves to different sections to be able to cover different areas that aren't as extreme. And so I think what you were saying, Shelby, we have problems in Preston County with places to stay overnight. And same with Leah, we have issues of trying to find locations for hotels close enough to trail that they could bike to it without their car, and be able to then stay and then be able to do a different section the next day and come back to that base and then go on to another section. So these like key points, but at the city areas, are kind of lacking in that capacity. And um, one of the extreme events that was held this past October was it was called Mountaineer Monster, which was the Mountaineer Gravels event that used rail trails and roads and different utility corridors all over to do these, like everything from 140 miles to 500 and some miles. And I know that the folks doing that had, yeah, real challenges finding food, finding places to stay, finding places just to get water. So there is a opportunity, like there are opportunities, but we want them to be able to survive, not just not just between events or the seasonality, right? Like it's hard to have a business just supported by one or two or even like a dozen events that we were able to pull off. Um, and but just to mention another one that I know is happening is that the North Bend is, and maybe part of Harrison North is part of this American Discovery event where people are doing this American Discovery Trail. I think hand off a baton, like you were talking, kind of walk all the way across the country on that corridor. And I think they're supposed to hit West Virginia in the fall. And so it's even knowing how to engage those communities around these events. Not everybody, like it's just fluke sometimes that I know, oh, this happens to be happening this year, or like we really need our communication networks to be functioning.
Yeah, yeah. This is also enlightening. This is a good chat. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I just put three words into the chat: producers, providers, and professionals. And Chris, I see you smiling. In Pennsylvania, we have an outdoor recreation office, and recently they sort of like categorized businesses that are part of the outdoor economy in this way. So you have manufacturers that are producing outdoor equipment and gear and so forth. You have providers that are small businesses that are providing in a retail sort of capacity. And then you have professionals, people like me that are part of the industry, but I'm working in support of trails, or people that are building trails, etc. So this is Chris, and I feel like there's a lot in the chat that I'm missing. So what is wild, the Barkley or the fact that we have these buckets of
Yeah, I'm sorry, Amy. With all this talk about the Barkley marathons, I thought Berkeley marathons, I'll give this a look, and it's something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it is. So
Yes.
anyway, like I want to acknowledge that tourism is central to what we are trying to do. And that in addition to tourism, I I think the outdoor economy for the P2P can include more, right? Manufacturers, equipment producers, just other sorts of elements. So what does everyone think about the outdoor economy possibilities whenever we sort of broaden the picture a little bit?
I think of limestone quarries. Greer limestone is my
Uh-huh.
it's what builds the trail. It's the quarry that needs to know what kind of materials we need when we need fixes to things. I think of the wayfinding signs that we're kind of following the GAPS model, and I'd like to see more of those. My wayfinding is in the tens of thousands, maybe it's maybe a six-digit number, um, to do all of the wayfinding signage that could happen. And we don't have, I get that made at a town in West Newton manufactures that in Pennsylvania. I don't have a resource in West Virginia for that. Um, I think of the arts world, and the makers of the ways to get branding out there, and the people who are kind of um, making their imprint on Appalachia. They need to have real buy-in, right? And we need to reach them.
Yeah, yeah, good. Thanks, Ella. Right, so not everyone thinks about limestone quarries, right? But the ecosystem can be can include a whole lot of different people and entities. Amber, what did you just drop in the chat for us?
Ella mentioned arts, and we have
Hmm.
formerly the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts. They rebranded as the West Virginia Creative Network, and they're trying to create a statewide resource for artist entrepreneurs so that they understand how to grow their businesses and learn, like get out of their arts a little bit and get into business mindset. So they're really working on kind of cultivating those artist entrepreneurs across the
Hmm.
state, but also creating a repository for folks that want to hire artists, whether it's musicians to do work for you for design. They're kind of leading that effort.
Yeah, super. Well, let's take that idea of getting into a business mindset. What do we need to do to get into a business mindset along the P2P? We're working on a regional master plan. What does everyone think we need to do to be able to go in that direction?
I mean, my first thing when I talk to any entrepreneur is like to have a business, you have to have paying customers. So understand who your customer segments are that you're trying to engage in this effort, and then what is the direct narrative for each of those. So it's like it has to be a different narrative for each customer. So if it's the quarry, what is the quarry customer like narrative? If it's the professionals, what is that? So I think for me, it's understanding who the customer segments that would be served by this is the first step.
Yeah, that's super. And we can and for the trails, we can obviously think about our customers as well, right? It's the people doing ultra marathons, it's the people local people going out for a 10-mile ride, like whatever it is, it's understanding who they are.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this in a weird and funky direction as far as resources, but I think going into your HR departments in some of your bigger places, your businesses, and telling them about this asset and how it improves the quality of life for their employees and getting it buy-in that way is huge because it's not talked about enough. I mean, it's just like I forget who mentioned it on the call. I think it was Shelby. You got a brand new trailhead up there on the Cheat River, and people don't know about it. But I promise you, the majority of people, despite what everybody wants to really think, is at work and doing work. And that's the best way to get your assets noticed is through the businesses itself. Um, yeah, absolutely. Employee perk related to the trail. Like, I mean, shoot, just getting the employees to do, if we can set up some picnic pavilions along the trail and getting them out there. And seen even, I keep bringing this example up. I'd probably like beat this horse so many times, but in Greenville, South Carolina, they got the hospital to sponsor a section of the trail and actually had a trail counter put in so that they could track the data, the amount of trail users per daily, and they spun it as preventative care versus reactive care. And I was like, man, that's a good way to do it. And of course, the rail trail got a little funding that way too. So that way, maybe Ella, you can improve your your signage budget, or maybe get somebody else to pay for your signs. But yeah, that's one of the ways I think I would go is like incentivizing the trail as an employee perk for all businesses in the region.
Yeah, great. Chris, were you going to jump in or no?
I'm good today, Amy. I'm
Okay.
just absorbing a lot of
All
this
right.
really, really strong chatter here.
Super. Anyone who's in a Zoom with me, if you come off mute, like you were target. So I I guess I want to ask, how do we get our regional and local economic development organizations to see the economic potential of this corridor? What do we need to do to get them on board?
Talk in their language.
Ah, which
Yeah.
is?
Jobs created.
Uh-huh.
Investment dollars gained. What else does the economic development folks care about? If you get the backbone, then they'll get a big one. Like this is the age old my battle to the death. How do I get economic development to listen to entrepreneurship? So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
What do you,
jobs created,
yeah.
local
What do you mean by
prosperity.
backbone? Like, what is that like a term? Like you said, if you get the backbone, or did I not hear that right?
I might have said it out loud and I don't know what I said.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right.
So yeah, so like so for us, like our narrative as a state is that it's very hard to have a large industry economic win without the small business of the community to host the backbone, like that big win. So in order for a big company to come in, small businesses need to be present in that community. Housing needs to be present in that community. Like nobody's going to want to bring 100 employees into a community that doesn't have enough restaurants, outdoor recreation activities, places for them to go and do. Like it's very hard to cultivate an economic development win without an entrepreneurship win. You
Yeah.
kind of have to start
Mhm.
there. And so
Mhm.
I think that's something that like using the trails as to, Ryan, exactly to your point earlier, like as an incentive for economic development to come in. Like they get access to this beautiful landscape. It's a quality of life thing, like talking in their language about how that will directly relate to economic development
Mhm.
narrative.
Yeah.
So all of
Yeah.
these economic development organizations, whatever type they are, whether they're a local EDA, a CVB, a regional planning and development council, they all have to have annual planning or at least regular planning, and they all have to produce documents with those plans. I think that the best thing we could do is require that every EDA and every regional planning and development council and every CVB have very specific plans and reports on the progress made in terms of trail development and trail business development. Just build it into the DNA of these organizations so that while they're thinking about recruiting a McDonald's, they're also thinking about recruiting a trail-related business or improving the infrastructure on that trail.
I part
Yeah.
of the example that I have, I love that kind of just to say, and I want, like I've never have, I'm more involved with our transportation planning. They make those things a lot more public and you know when they're happening more, or at least in my network, I guess. So I never quite know when that's happening for these other agencies, and
They're usually internal documents. You're right about that, Ella.
you don't know when to jump in and say, "Hey, look at us," or talk to us, or include us. But I also, have often looked to the Progress Fund as our Pennsylvania example in West Virginia. They had, they provided capital, they bought properties, they showed where there were like communities that needed, hey, this is a perfect place for a restaurant. They really like tried to label the missing amenity and market it to that. And I don't know how successful that has been, whether they're still trying
way of really like taking it to every stage of like almost like realtor.com of like here is this perfect location for you to buy and here's the capital to get you started. But like and I don't know that we have any kind of West Virginia equivalent to that. Maybe in different agencies and piecemeal that's out there. But I just, like part of me is like how much of the lift is needed on our end to like say this is exactly the pieces that we can envision being, successful here if there's somebody to take it up.
Mm-hmm. So we have just a few minutes left. Um, any final thoughts? Anything you want us to be thinking about? Um, Examples from other places that we ought to be looking at? This is the time for that, but either shout it out or drop it in the chat. Go ahead, Kent.
You saw me.
Sorry, your screen came up.
So, I think the lesson for me is that this is going to take a lot more than just this Arise planning group to make this happen. And we really have to identify people like Amber and others who can provide us the resources and the technical assistance that we need to actually make this stuff happen. And it has to be really intentional, and it has to be sustained. And that's hard work, but it's so critical that, in my opinion, the small business support system in West Virginia is not very good and it needs to improve dramatically. We need to invest in it. Amber needs more staff, whatever it is. We have to find ways to provide that technical assistance um, through that network that she talked about, but um, also at the local level.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Anyone else?
Um,
Final
one thought,
thoughts?
one thought that I had, I'm not sure if you've thought about this. Fairmont State very recently started an outdoor recreation major to intentionally get students in the pipeline to tourism related jobs in West Virginia. So that might be someone to partner with to get students excited about this trail, to get them thinking about the businesses that they could start. One other idea I had, maybe you find a student who's going to graduate with that and they are interested in Airbnbs, a hostel or something, and maybe somehow we partner with WVU and they sponsor a tiny house and it's decked out in all WVU stuff. And now this student or this graduate has a business in Preston County. There's a lodging right off the trail. They can get started. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how we can plan for the future and collaborate with everyone where everybody benefits.
Yeah, everybody benefits. That is a great last couple of words for this day, for this meeting, because that's what we're working towards. So thank you. Thank you all for a really robust discussion. Thank you for the comments that are coming through in the chat, the resources. Really appreciate it. Join us next week to talk about livability if you'd like to. And yeah, please follow along at p2ptrails.org. We have a newsletter there where you can make sure that you get updates. But thanks everyone. Really appreciate this discussion today.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Thanks, bye.